All right, you guys, here it is. This is your last, the final, the end, the very last notes that you have to do this school year. Okay, 15.3, let's talk about it. We are going to learn law of cosines. Just like law of sines, these are specific for non-right triangles. Okay, so we're going to be using these for triangles that are not right triangles. And law of cosines is just a nice, big, long equation that you need to make sure you have handy come test time. So make sure you have this handy. Law of cosines says if you have a squared, it is equal to b squared plus c squared. That looks a lot like Pythagorean theorem, right? That's how it starts, and then it goes minus 2bc cosine of a. Now, this is how you would solve for side A. If you needed to find what little a was, what the side opposite angle A is, this is the formula you would use. Now, we can rearrange these letters as we want. The main thing is that the letter that you're solving for, the side you're solving for, we use its corresponding angle in the equation. So say we wanted to solve for b instead of a, all we would do is switch things around. So it would be b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of b. Once again, these two match, and then the other two sides are used here and here. Okay, once again, if you want to find side C, we can rearrange again. A squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of C. See, those two match. So pretty much you're going to choose one of these equations depending on, are you solving for side A, are you solving for side B, or are you solving for side C? This is what's going to determine which formula you use. Now, in order to use law of cosines, we said it's going to be a non-right triangle, but you also have to be given, now remember law of sines, we had to be given a matching pair. Law of cosines has a special thing that we look for, and we need side angle side. Do you remember your old geometry terms? It comes from that. Side angle side means you have to be given the length of one side, another side, and its included angle. Side, angle, side. If you have that, then you can use law of cosines. Okay? For example, problem number 1 here. So let's just check for side angle side. I'm given this side is 10. I'm given this angle's 108. And this side is 11. That fulfills side angle side. I have two sides with the included angle. So I can use law of cosines. Now, what am I trying to find? I'm trying to find side AB. AB is the one that goes from point A to point B, so that's this side. But how do we label that? We label it with a lowercase c. Because it's across angle C, I do it with a lowercase c. So this is what I'm trying to solve for. So which formula am I going to use? The one that starts with a c. If you're looking to solve for c, use the one that starts with c. So that's what I'm going to use. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. And I just go through and I plug in the numbers. Okay? Across from angle A, so this is my little a. Across from angle B, that makes this my little b. So I'm just going to plug the numbers in. C is what we're trying to find. So c squared equals, what's a? 10. 10 squared plus, what's b? Over here, 11 squared minus 2 times what was a? 10 times what was b? 11. Yes, I used those numbers twice within this equation. And then times the cosine of angle C. This is an angle, so make sure you use the angle measure, which is 108. And you guys, what do I do with all that? I plug it into a calculator. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's grab our calculator. This whole unit, I've been using this website, calculator.net. It'll work great for this problem too. So all I do is I type this straight into the calculator. So here we go. 10, here's your squared button, the one that says x squared. That's your squared. 10 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 10 times 11 times cosine 108. Now, because that's the end, I don't necessarily need to close those parentheses, but if you want to, you can close them right there and hit equals, and I get 208 88.9837 dot 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 dot. It keeps going. Remember, we're not going to round till we get to the final answer. This is not my final answer because this is not what C equals. It's equal to C squared. So how do I get rid of a squared? You do the inverse operation where you're going to take the square root of both sides. And that will give me C equals the square root of this big long number. Remember that answer button I showed you in the last section? We're going to use that again. So I'm going to do square root, which is right here, the square root x. That's my square root button. And I hit that answer button and look right there, it filled in that number I had right before. And there's my answer. Let's round to the nearest tenth. What happens if I have a 9 there? That'll go up, which causes that to go up. So C is 17. And yeah, it's always nice if we label it. We are in kilometers. And that is the measure of side C. Guys, that's all there is to it. Okay? It is really pretty much, can you use these formulas? All right, let's try one more. All right, double check yourself. Do I have side angle side? I have this side is 25. This angle is 46 connected to this side 8. Side angle side. They have to connect. The angle has to be the included angle between those two sides. So check. I want to find the measure of AC, which is little b. Remember, from A to C is little b. Every time the side that it's solving for is going to be the one that's across from the angle. Do you see that? Across from the angle, that's the one we're solving for. Had it asked for a different side, well, it gives me the other two sides. So this will be the only side we ever solve for because it has to give us the other two. And a triangle only has 3 sides. So if I'm looking for little b, that means I'm going to use this equation up here. I'm going to use the b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. And all I do is plug it in. Just a quick reminder, across from angle A, this will be little a. Across from angle C, this will be little c. And let's plug them in. B, that's what I'm trying to find. So b squared equals a, which is 25 squared, plus c, which is 8 squared, minus 2 times a is 25, times c is 8, times cosine b is the angle, which is 46. And what do we do with all this? We plug it into our calculator. So here we go. We're going to do 25 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 25 times 8 times cosine. Now remember, this is normal cosine, not inverse. Make sure you hit the right button. That's just normal cosine. 46. Hit enter. Okay, this is not my answer. Remember, we're not going to round this. I've got the whole thing in here. That's equal to b squared. How do I solve for b? Square root. And how can I do that in the calculator? I'm going to hit square root. I'm going to hit that answer button. It recalls my answer from before. And I get b is equal to, let's go nearest tenth, 20 point. That'll round up to 3. 20.3. I could label it using my unit measure up there, which is centimeters. And we found side B. All right, last example. These directions just say solve the triangle. We got to find everything that's missing. Well, what is missing? Angle B, angle A, and side C. So I have 3 things I'm going to find. I got to find measure of angle A, I got to find the measure of angle B, and I got to find little c. It gives me 3 pieces, and I got to find 3 more. Okay, so first check and see, what are you given? I'm given side angle side. So yep, we're still doing law of cosines. I can choose which one I want to solve for, except for I really only have one choice. Law of cosines always solves for which one? The one across from the angle. So we're going to be solving for little c. So we're going to use c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. All right, across from angle B, here's little b. Across from angle A, here's little a. And I just plug everything in. C squared equals 30 squared plus 25 squared minus 2 times 30 times 25 times cosine the angle 106. All right, let's type it in here. Let's go 30. Oh, I need to clear this. 30 squared plus 25 squared minus 2 times 30 times 25 times cosine 106. I hope I typed that in right. It looks good. And I hit equals and I get this number, but that is equal to c squared. So what do I do to get c? Square root. So I'm going to take the square root and use that answer button and hit equals. And we'll round to the nearest tenth. So 44 point, that'll stay 0. So 44.0. Just a side note, say I was doing this in Big Ideas, and if it said round to the nearest tenth, they're kind of funny that they require a number in the tenth spot. So they would actually count the answer if I type 44. They would count it wrong. You actually have to type 44.0. It's just kind of a thing for Big Ideas. If I was grading your homework or it was on a test, I know that 44 is the same answer as 44.0. But just so you know, for Big Ideas, if you do get 0.0, you have to type 0.0. Okay, so I found little c is 44. Check. Now I got to find the other two angles. Okay, you guys, I know what c is. I can mark this out, and I now know that it's 44. Well, what do you notice? I have a matching pair. What do I do if I have a matching pair? I do law of sines. So we use law of cosines to find the first piece of information, or in this case, the missing side. And if I want to solve for the angles, I switch to law of sines, okay? You could use law of cosines to find one of those missing angles, but it gets really messy. We really don't want to do that. I strongly recommend not doing law of cosines again. We're going to switch to law of sines. So remember from 15.2 how we do that. We do the side over the sine of the angle. So I'm going to take 44 over sine of 106. Now I need another pair. I could choose either one. You want to do A or B? I'm just going to choose A. So this is going to be my other one, which is going to be the side 30 over the sine of the angle. That's what I'm trying to find, which is A. And what do? I cross multiply. So that gives me 30 sine 106. And remember, if you write that the other way, sine 106 times 30, it's the same thing. And over here, cross multiply, I get 44 sine A. Okay, remember, I'm not going to change this to a decimal quite yet. What am I going to do? I'm going to solve for A. I got to get rid of the sine and the 44. We do one at a time. Order of operations says divide by 44 first. Okay. Now I get sine A. This is where I'm going to change it. So I go to my calculator. I'm going to do 30 times sine of 106. Close the parentheses before you do the divide. Then divide by 44. Okay, that gets me this decimal, 0.6554. I'm not to my answer yet because I still got to get rid of sine. How do we get rid of sine? Take the sine inverse of both sides. Those cancel, and A is equal to the sine inverse of this, so be sure and use your inverse sign. So sine inverse, use the answer key, and to the nearest tenth, what's going to happen? That 5 is going to make that 9 go up, which is going to make that 0 go up to 41 degrees. So the measure of angle A is 41 degrees. Okay, we're almost there. We have one more piece of information. Now I got to find the other angle, okay? I could do law of sines again, but who likes the hard way? What if there's an easier way? Okay, I'm going to teach you a trick. To solve this triangle, I would use law of cosines to find the missing side. Then I would switch to law of sines to find one of the angles. And then once I know two angles in a triangle, what's the easiest way to find the third angle? What do all three angles add up to? They add up to 180, right? So if I found angle A to be 41, so if this angle is 41 degrees, this one's 106, can you find this one? Yeah, we take 180 minus 106 minus 41. And I get 33 degrees. And you just solve the triangle. There are my answers. All right, that's the end of 15.3 notes, the very last final section that you are going to learn this year. So you guys work hard, get caught up, get everything turned in so your teacher can give you a really good grade. Okay, good luck, you guys.